Guang over here, and we are your hosts for today's podcast. So today we welcome a very special student, a rising sophomore from the Wesleyan College. Phuc. Oh, what?
It's Wesleyan University.
Wesleyan University. Phuc. Yay!
Hi. I make the distinction because it's different schools at the Wesleyan College.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because this is such a nerdy fact to bring in the first thing. So Wesleyan, I think Wesleyan because there's a Christian dude from the 16th, 17th century named John Wesley who started a branch of the one of the Protestant churches, and so there's a lot of schools that started under that branch of Protestantism, and that's why they're all called Wesleyan.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You're welcome for that.
Good fact. Interesting fact. I'm just genuinely surprised how you just pulled that out of nowhere. Okay. So as a tradition with our podcast, we always have at least 2 types of cookies. So today we have a double chocolate cookie and walnut cranberry. So which one would you like to try?
Let's try this one.
Okay.
This is not very demure.
Very
Oh.
mindful. Okay, here we go. Would you like one?
Yes, please. I'm gonna ask. Oh, sure.
It's
It's
fine.
good.
Is it?
Just so buttery.
Oh really? Well, before we get to today's main discussion, we like to firstly have a quick notice that Phuc also, did you go to a boarding school in the US? Yeah, so could you share a bit about your experience there?
Yeah. So I went to Phuc Academy, which is a boarding and day school, in near Boston, 30 minutes from Boston. It was 50% day, 50% boarding. That's just, I guess, the school. What was my experience like? So I went since freshman year of high school, but I had the after spring break of freshman year and then the entirety of sophomore year I did online because of COVID. But I think I don't know, I thought about it a lot. This is gonna sound really, really sad, so maybe cut parts of this. But I think it was, I missed, personally, I felt there were a lot of opportunities, a lot of ways for me to kind of open up and expand and develop, as always, independence, but also socially in a different culture, in a different environment. I didn't personally make the most of all those opportunities. Obviously I had COVID, so that didn't help me, but I'd say in general, yeah, there's a lot of opportunities, and there's a lot of kind of openness.
That's really nice. Well, in comparison to that, in university, did you think there were that range of opportunities, and were you able to utilize it a bit more?
Well, I think it's different. I think in high school you have 2 years essentially to kind of mess around and kind of find your confidence.
Yeah.
In university, obviously it depends on the side of your school and all of that. At a liberal arts college, you're also given a little bit more time to find yourself. But the opportunities, not to say they pass you by, but they come very quickly and they go also very quickly, a lot more quickly in university. And so just being prepared for that and knowing what you want, if not who you are, more in college will help you kind of do stuff and motivate yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll steer a little bit back towards the boarding school because I want to know, what do you think is the most memorable experience you had there? Maybe guitar.
I can talk about a lot of different things, I guess. I did theater. Yeah. So I did two musicals, my junior and senior year. I didn't do the COVID. They did productions on Zoom, which I saw highlights of, and that was just it was so bizarre. People were in their green screens in their rooms recording, and they try to sync up the video, but it was online. So I did. I got to be. I don't know if you know Chicago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, so I got to be Amos for Chicago, like Mr. Sullivan. That was like really, really fun. Because I'd watched the thing on Broadway with my brother like the summer before that.
Oh, that's so
And they
nice.
announced it was gonna be Chicago, and I was like, oh shit, I should audition. Shouldn't swear, I guess.
It's fine.
And then I auditioned, and I actually got the part that I like wanted. And so yeah, just like being on stage for all that was really fun. And then that, and also I had like so I was part of the International Students Club. And we did like assemblies every year, and I spoke for the last two, and kind of getting on to like a podium and kind of addressing the school, and finding a way for. I noticed a lot of times like I don't know about like pro assemblies, but people are just like up there talking and no one like is listening. I just like kind of like blankly, you know,
Just
staring, yeah, or like on their phones. And so finding a way to like get people to like listen and engage and kind of like get emotionally invested, that was very rewarding. So that was fun.
So in Milton, were there like many international schools in the boarding school?
I think it was like 15%.
Oh.
There's a lot of Chinese kids, a lot of kids from Hong Kong actually.
Yeah.
I know the politics of that. There were like, kids from elsewhere as well. We had like the International Students Club. This is the reason why actually I really enjoyed like going to International Students Clubs because like so we had like an Asian society for like Asian students, but it basically became over time like the Chinese students, like Chinese Americans and Chinese,
Oh.
which is fair enough. Like yeah, I'm not gonna like complain about that too much, but like as a result of that, like all of the other international students kind of flocked to the International Students Club, and so we had this kind of like we were very conscious of preserving the diversity and the makeup and the leadership of the club, and I think just like it was a good chance to kind of early on interact with people from a lot of different places. And yes, also like to see the differences, also to find that like a lot of people, especially from like, yeah, I guess like from like non-European, non-American countries are like there's a lot of similarities as well. So,
Yeah.
and it was good to find comfort in that as well.
I was going to ask, how did you think like being an international student in boarding school kind of shape your value?
This sounds like an essay question. You heard what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you think it has shaped your experience or your values in some sort of way?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like that stereotype of like people going abroad and studying or working abroad, and they like come back home and they like just become massive nationalists, or like like they become more patriotic. Like that definitely happened to me at the start. I was like, yeah, I have to be Vietnamese, I have to like preserve my culture, which is kind of stupid, but I think what it forces you to do, as with like anything that where you're not the prevailing opinion, is like it forces you to think and reflect a lot more. Like you're not allowed to just coast by because things are happening to you. This is very abstract. Things are happening to you that you don't expect or that are definitely different. Like I didn't have too much culture shock because like we grow up like in this day and age, especially I went to international schools like very Americanized, very westernized culture. But there was definitely some like a few things where you just really notice the differences, and you kind of come to appreciate like I don't know the differences in like tendencies of thought, stuff like that. In terms of like my personal experience with that, how it shaped my experience, I don't know. I think it felt like I don't know. I think it gave me a. This is stereotypical, but I think it gave me a perspective on things. It kind of trained me to think more and more critically, and so I think that also helped because critical thinking applies in more ways than just like international student stuff. So yeah, I think it was definitely good.
Did the international school environment in Vietnam, and then when you shifted to the boarding school environment, was it like a major change? Was it that different? Did you have trouble shifting?
I mean, like, no, I don't think it's too different. I think the difference is like Vietnamese, like there's a culture, right? Obviously in Vietnam, like the way that parents tend to raise their kids and stuff like that, the way that affects the way kids are. And it's definitely that's different in the US. So the people are different.
Oh.
But in terms of like I think also one more thing is like my school to BIS, right? So
Oh.
yeah, so like the whole like teacher student like relationship, it wasn't like it wasn't allowed or it wasn't like like frowned upon or anything. It's just there's less of that. There's less opportunity to facilitate that. It's
Yeah.
less encouraged openly. And so when I went to the US, where like that's at least especially at my school, it was really encouraged. It was actually a part of like the thing experience like engaging with your teacher on like a much more personal level, especially those in your dorm. Like you're allowed to talk to them. You're allowed to like you're encouraged in fact to talk to them. That was something I had to get used to. Was kind of figuring out this new dynamic with adults that I didn't know before. I think another part of it as well is just like I think the way that we conceive elders in Vietnam is different to the way that a lot of people do in the US, or at least at my school. And so getting over that hump was like the kind of biggest like culture shock, I guess.
Okay, I think we can shift more towards
Yeah,
your university
Yeah,
life now.
yeah.
So you're currently a rising
So
sophomore, so you're at the US.
Yeah.
So how would you like describe your first year in university in college?
I think it was kind of like it was like just getting my feet set. Really. Finding like getting used to everything, getting kind of up to date with things. I don't know. I think also like really like defining what I wanted to do, at least academically. There were a lot of interesting classes. And there were a lot of like interesting meetings, very thought provoking, very motivating as well. So yeah, it was like I mean obviously it's gonna be self discovery one or another, but really for me it was especially like it helped with like defining what I wanted to do. So it was that. It was also defining what I really wanted to do, and the way I wanted to do it. But also like it's a lot of fun. Like high school, yes, sure, it's a boarding school, and you can get away with a lot of stuff. You can sneak a lot of stuff under the rug or under the whatever. But in college, you're kind of like let loose to do whatever you want. And so there's a lot of fun attached to all of that.
What major are you currently doing?
So at Wesleyan, there's a few like 3-year majors that are designed for you to like get in there. There's a pre-designed curriculum and pre-designed readings that everyone has to do. So there's the College of Letters. There's also like another one, but let's not talk about that. There's a College of Letters, which is like for humanities, so it's history, philosophy, and literature. And then there's what I'm doing, which is the College of Social Studies, which is government, history, econ, and social theory. So all those things, and the idea is that you spend sophomore year going really in depth into each of those subjects to make sure we have a really good basis. So we do like 18, 19 books per course. And it's like one essay a day. Not a day, one essay per week. So one essay per week. For those like classes for sophomore year. Then after that, we kind of let loose to kind of like explore more and more detailed topics in the major. So yes, basically social studies is the major, and specifically it's social theory, history, government, and econ. Yeah.
Why did you decide to go to Wesleyan and go to university?
Well, I mean, I always knew that like the liberal arts like environment, academically speaking, was the best fit for me. I like the idea of like, because I have learned to do it in high school. I like the idea of like being able to interact closely with my teachers, with my professors, to kind of to have time with them. I feel like if you go to like a big university, then you have a lot of big classes and professors are busy, and maybe like that if you go to like a liberal arts school like Wesleyan, you know that the teachers are there not just to like research and do their like that part of their work, but also that they really care about the teaching aspect as well. And so yeah, I think that's like the biggest reason and the biggest selling point really for a school at Wesleyan is that You get professors who are really invested in how you do as a student, and who are less kind of fixated on their own research. Although that's a bad thing. It's just that's how it's supposed to be.
How, like, do you think being in a boarding school and applying to your US American, like, a different candidate pool for like university application, right? So how was the whole university application your senior year was actually for you?
Right. So yeah. I think so. I went to obviously a boarding school in New England, just like it's one of these like old schools, like a big like tradition in history.
Yeah.
And the head admissions officer, who's a really awesome person, for the record, and has done a lot of great things, and he's done a lot of good work for students as opposed for like the college counseling as a career. But he has a very different philosophy than a lot of like admissions consulting centers here, like in Vietnam, agencies and stuff like that. And so it was just kind of really like, I think for me, I really bought into that kind of his philosophy of it, and so maybe it's different for me because like I think that's how it's different. Is I had a kind of different support system with the American like style and kind of more traditional style counseling. The experience itself was like I'm sure as stressful as it would be for anyone else here. Like staying up late writing essays, like November, like wherever the deadlines are, like November 11th, November 13th. Just like grinding out essays from the last minute, like editing activities lists for like one word, one character here and there. But yeah, I think the biggest difference is that like counseling and that philosophy side of it.
So throughout your first year in university at Wesleyan and stuff, does the school have any like yearly tradition or something? Or that they do a yearly event that you find particularly interesting?
I don't think there are any that I should talk about.
What do you mean? It's a safe space.
It's a safe space.
He is very invested.
Okay, so like, it was like, so during December of my first semester, I was in the library, it was like finals, I was like writing an essay, and then I suddenly just hear this commotion downstairs, like, bubbling up, everyone's like screaming for some reason, and like I hear upstairs, and I just see this person, like running around with like bottles of alcohol in their hands, and like fairy wheels in their bags.
Yeah.
And so there's this thing in Wesleyan called like finals fairies, where they go around, they give people shots during finals.
That's so fun.
Yeah. What traditions do we have? There's one where, this is also off record. There's one where people, there's one where people take off. I didn't participate in this, but wait, where was this? And they get in their underwear and they go to the lobby of the library and they start like, was it that? Am I thinking of it? Yeah. They get in the underwear and they go to the lobby of the quiet library, and they have I don't know, they like mess around, as in like not as in like that, just like they scream stuff and they kind of let out their frustrations and then they get their clothes back on and get back to the finals. It's stressful.
Now that I think about it, isn't like the legal age of drinking 21 in the US?
Let's talk about that.
Sorry,
Oh, so in university, did you participate in like any societies or clubs? etc.?
Yes. So at my school, the Vietnamese student population is actually very small. It's also very kind of like disparate. People aren't really organized, and so I was part of the effort to revive the Vietnamese Student Association. So I've been doing that. I've also been writing for a few magazines, editing stuff for people. I'm trying to be more involved next year. Last year was really looking at the more like academic and social part of it. I was looking for some of the extracurricular stuff. So I'm looking forward to also going back. I want to pick up theater back again. I have friends who do like a new mock trial at UN. I have friends who do those stuff, athletics and stuff as well. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
This is like a very typical question, but like in university, how did you try to like balance your like social aspects, academics, personal, everything?
Yeah, I mean, I attempted for like every like once a month I would try to like set up a Google calendar, like set up like what I would do each time, but that never worked out. Like I was just like ignored it after a while. So I just kind of I don't know, I just like planned things up in my head, not like in my head like 3 days ahead of time. And then like I had like a to-do list that I would like occasionally look at and update. I wasn't too organized. I could have done a better job of that, but it's freshman year. You're allowed to make mistakes, or you're allowed to like be loose and unbalanced. But yeah, I just kind of like whatever at a certain moment when you have a decision, whatever you feel like you're lacking or you want to do, or is most important. This is very big advice. Whatever you find is most appropriate for that situation. I wouldn't be stuck in like I wouldn't like worry too much about it. I think just like it's a case by case basis of what you want to do.
But you said you want to enroll in the first year, but like in the summer back, I've been seeing you doing so many like supplemental essay courses for students and stuff. So what motivated you to do that? Or those classes and stuff?
I mean, okay, this is like completely not the same like part of. I mean, it's slightly related. Okay. So I really like Hanoi as a place, but I felt like every time I've been back for vacation, I've been doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see what it would be like. Obviously, I'm very privileged to have the opportunity to even see what it's like. But I wanted to see what it's like to be busy here, like, to work here, and to kind of like actually have a life where I'm not just like hanging around cafes all day. Here in Hanoi, and so that was kind of part of the motivation. So I just wanted stuff to do, and I wanted to have more experiences and more experience, like more more things. So yeah, and then I was like very lucky to have the opportunity to have been given the opportunity to do that. I'm very lucky to have had the students who were receptive and who took their time to learn, to believe I would be useful enough to spend time on learning something new. So yeah, I think at the core it's that. It's just like I wanted to experience.
Well, what do you think was like the most memorable part of summer being in Vietnam, experiencing the busy life in Vietnam?
Moving off the record? No.
Off the record?
And so that was kind of part of the motivation. So I just wanted stuff to do, and I wanted to have more experiences and more experience, like more things. So yeah, and then I was very lucky to have the opportunity to have been given the opportunity to do that. I'm very lucky to have had the students who were receptive and who took their time to learn, to believe I would be useful enough to spend time on learning something new. So yeah, I think at the core it's that. It's just like I wanted to experience.
Well, what do you think was like the most memorable part of summer being in Vietnam, experiencing the busy life in Vietnam?
Moving off the record? No. It's been going karaoke.
Oh.
On the record. This is not the most memorable, but so I did my internship this summer, and also just like my class as well. And the last day of my internship, everyone was really nice. Like everyone someone like different people like bought me like a lot of food actually. It was gift foods, but that was really nice. Someone bought me coffee. Someone bought me like a really cute. Me and my friend we were in the same in the same department. And so our bosses essentially bought us like 3 cakes. One of them was what's the name of the pink one from Poro? Lupi, yeah, it's like a Lupi cake. A Lupi cake is a capybara cake. There was like a cake with like a beer on it. I don't know why. But like the three like mini cakes, that was really cute. Yeah. And then I was taking photos. I was asking people to take photos at the end, and I think like I just really I don't know. I felt like really grateful for that experience, like to have met people there. And the same thing was like I was teaching at the embassy, and like afterwards, some people, some students came up and just kind of like talked about how they felt like the course was really helpful for them, and just like something that was very. It felt like I had I don't know. I felt very grateful for all that.
Oh, that's so nice. This is gonna ruin the mood a bit, but like I remember hearing that y'all somehow made the kids at the embassy yell skibbity twice.
And that wasn't me. That was.
Why would you like to explain yourself?
Essentially, so we were asked to do a silly pose for the photo,
Uh-huh.
and the silly pose was just saying that. So
How do you feel going back in the summer and hang out with like a bunch of like high school kids?
horrible, so horrible.
You spent most of your time with us. Now that we
Yeah, I regret it.
You're okay.
I need more friends. No, it was. I don't know. It's nice to meet new people. It's nice to. Yeah, you're all like cool. I don't know. This is sound very sincere.
Yeah,
I swear to God. Grateful to have met everyone. Yeah. Sorry, he's dancing.
So if you do have a chance to, let's say you come back here next summer, do you think you're gonna do the same or like similar experiences, like having an internship, hosting teaching classes, or will you prefer a laid back summer?
I'd like to be. I don't know. Maybe I want to be busy in different work, or like have different experiences. Maybe I would teach like something else, or teach different, like a different like style. Intern maybe, but like maybe intern somewhere else. Intern at a like in a different role. I just want. Like, I don't want to do the same thing. Yeah, but I would be like I would obviously I don't want to be like I don't want to like chill too much. Yeah, just chilling is fun and it's nice, but like weekends are enough for that. Probably. Yeah.
So going into the sophomore year in college and university, do you have any like main goals and stuff?
I need to get a job.
You have a job?
I need to get a job. I want to get a
Oh.
job. I got rejected from the canteen like last year. Like I applied to like scoop rice at the canteen. They're like, no, you're not qualified. I was like, whoa.
Did you have to like give some experience? Or
No, I think they was like I think I think they prioritize like work study students. But also I think I just like submitted my application kind of late, so they kind of consider other people first. But yeah, very jobless, very lack of income.
Good luck finding a job
Thank
in
you, I
yourself.
appreciate that.
Yeah, so closing off the episode, would you like to share some like advices you might have for high school students? Maybe starting their application, for instance, like him starting, or like starting a university experience. Yeah, do you think like advice and stuff you'd like to share with them?
I think actually the number one thing, maybe this is not great advice for everyone, but the one thing that I learned really was that like you don't have to, you can respect people, but you have to be scared of them. Like when I first came in as a freshman to Milton, like all the club leaders, all the people in like any leadership position, even like sophomores who were like 1 year above me, I felt like I was almost too respectful to a degree where I like didn't feel not comfortable so much, but like I just didn't feel confident.
Yeah.
And so I didn't feel like I could kind of apply myself and I could contribute very much. But then like as I became a senior, as I became a junior, I got in those roles, I realized that like we're all just like figuring it out on our way. Like no one really has it all figured out. No one really is like the boss of anything. Even at 17, at 18, at 21, even as a senior in college, I'm sure like people are still as confused as like anyone like could be at 16. So, respect everyone. Like try to understand them, try to like don't be asshole, but like Don't be scared. Just don't think too much. Just do stuff. Yeah. Do whatever you feel like doing and dedicate your energy into it.
Oh, that's really nice. Well, so this is the end of today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you will not be jobless in the next one.
That's so kind of you. That's
We wish
so
you
kind of
nothing
you.
but the best. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next episode. Goodbye.
Goodbye.